Let's now have our first conversation on the program tonight. Public Affairs Analyst Taiwo Osanyin is now joining me via Zoom. Good evening to you, Taiwo.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
And let's backtrack a bit. You took part in Sars protest 2 years ago. Would you say much has changed, particularly regarding the 5 for 5 demands?
Okay. First and foremost, let me first of all commiserate with Nigerians and people that lost friends, families at the 20th of October 2020 at Lake Tollgate. Fortunately, it was a very unfortunate incident, and we will never forget that in a very short while. However, considering the 545 demands that were actually proclaimed by Nigerian youth, we could say that we have seen a bit of development in the Nigerian policing system today. Firstly, SARS has been scrapped. Secondly, we have seen reforms being taken in the Nigerian police force today. Thirdly, we've seen a bit of welfare being implemented in the Nigerian police force. We've seen trainees. We've also seen certain people who have been sanctioned and actually been expunged from the Nigerian police for doing something that is bad. We've also heard about the implementation of the salary rise in the Nigerian police. And certainly, we've also seen the Inspector General of Police coming out every time regularly to sensitize the public on the fact that the Nigerian police do not have any reason to check phones and certain atrocities that have actually been propagated in the past. So certainly, yes, there are some things that have been changed. We cannot deny the fact that those things have been changed. However, on the other hand, we must also remember that, also must not forget that certain things still need to actually be implemented. And these are the things that the Nigerian youth today came out to actually protest for. Firstly,
so let's talk about today first. We'll look at those things that you think need upgrade or should be looked at further as far as police reforms are concerned. But I want us to talk about today, the memorial protest at Lekki here in Lagos. There are those who think that what happened today could have been avoided. What's your take on that?
Well, it's very insensitive for people to actually think that the Nigerian youth should not come out to protest today or to remember people that actually lost lives 2 years ago.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not sure that the argument here is that it wasn't necessary. I think for people, it was a necessary event, but turned out sour. And that is what people are concerned with, that, it ended up with the police throwing in some tear gas. All of that could have been avoided, couldn't it?
Well, it still goes back to what I said earlier. There's some certain things that still need to be changed. That act by the Nigerian police today at the Lekki toll was unnecessary, was not needed. Let's be honest. The protesters or the people were at the toll carrying out their normal activities. Well, you might have probably said they obstructed some part of traffic, but there were certain civil approaches to actually carry out these things without throwing out canisters of tear gas and water cannons. It was actually unnecessary. And that is the things that we must actually learn to actually work with in this current civilized nation. Because the truth is this, in situations like this is actually absurd. It is criminal, it is insensitive, it is an act of unprofessionalism by the uniformed men. On the other hand, we've seen that the Nigerian youth today comported themselves without carrying out any act of violence, even though they were actually tear gas, some were actually tear gas, some were water cannons touched some people and whatever.
Right.
You can see that were very calm and they actually were very peaceful, and that is what the NSAS protest has been right from October 10, 2020.
Let's wrap up our conversation tonight. What are those things that you think the government could be doing better as far as the police reforms are concerned?
Well, firstly, we still need to look at our recruitment process in the Nigerian police force. Secondly, we need to understand the fact that the world today is evolving and people are developing in the global world. We must understand the fact that Nigerian police must be effectively and adequately trained. Not only that, we must also understand the fact that our security apparatus, because the truth of the matter is the end SARS protest ended up with the Nigerian military shooting at the protesters. So there's a dynamic happening in the Nigerian security apparatus. So we must not forget that fact that the end SARS protest was about police brutality, which ended up with military assault and military killings. So those are the two things that we must not forget. So our security apparatus must be very, very critical in these reforms, not only in the police, but also in the Nigerian army, in the Nigerian immigration, the Nigerian civil defense, and all other security apparatus.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it here, but I do appreciate your time with us here on NC Continental Prime. Thank you so much, Taiwo.
Thank you for having me.